My friends, there are times in human history when whispers will not do. A gentle nudge is not enough. The hour comes when God, in His mercy, raises His voice, not to frighten us, but to awaken us. What you hear in this moment is not mere noise or the chatter of human tongues. It is an urgent alert from the One who made you, who loves you, and who longs to rescue you from the sleep of indifference. We live in an age crowded with distractions. Our ears are stuffed with news, music, endless scrolling, and the constant hum of progress. And yet, for all our cleverness, we often miss the sound that matters most, the sound of eternity knocking at our door. Imagine a traveler so fascinated by the pebbles at his feet that he never notices the cliff just ahead. That, I fear, is the picture of many souls today. This alert is not given in cruelty, but in compassion. God warns us as a father warns his child not to play in the fire. He shakes us as a shepherd shakes a lost lamb, not to harm, but to rescue it from the wolves. The storms in your life, the people leaving your path, the sudden silences where once there was noise, these are not accidents. They are signals. They are alarms meant to lift your gaze from the trivial to the eternal. Some of you may ask, why must the alert be so urgent? Why not let us drift in peace? But peace without truth is not peace at all. It is merely anesthesia before the soul's ruin. A doctor who sees disease and says nothing is no friend but a traitor. In the same way, God, in His fierce love, refuses to leave us blind. He allows the ground to shake beneath our feet so that we may awaken before it crumbles altogether. Do not mistake delay for indifference. Do not mistake patience for forgetfulness. The door of mercy still stands open, but it will not swing open forever. Time is a fragile gift. It unravels thread by thread, and when it is gone, we cannot weave it back again. So hear this, God's urgent alert is not a sentence of doom, but an invitation to life. It is the trumpet call that summons us out of shadows into light. It is the hand stretched out to pull us from drowning waters. It is love loud enough to break through our stubbornness, strong enough to draw us home. The question is not whether the alert is sounding. It is. The question is whether we will harden our hearts or open them, whether we will hit the snooze once more or finally rise. Listen, then, wake up, return. For the very fact that you can still hear this call means it is not too late. God's warning is love disguised as urgency. God's warning is love disguised as urgency. When we think of warnings, we often imagine something harsh, unwelcome, or even frightening. Yet the deepest truth is that divine warnings are not born out of cruelty, but out of a heart that refuses to let us perish unnoticed. Love does not sit quietly while danger approaches. Love speaks, interrupts, and even alarms us when our path is leading toward destruction. If a child wanders too close to a fire, the loving parent does not whisper gently from across the room, but shouts with force, their voice carrying urgency because the danger is real and immediate. In the same way, when God raises His voice in our lives, it is not to shame us, but to save us. We live in a world that teaches us to equate love with softness, always gentle and never disturbing. But true love has the courage to wound our comfort in order to heal our soul. A surgeon cuts not to harm, but to cure. God's warnings cut through our illusions, our excuses, our distractions, because without that piercing edge we might never awaken to reality. The urgency is not His impatience. It is His recognition that our time is fleeting, that each heartbeat is a step closer to eternity, and that indifference is the greatest danger of all. There are moments when losses come, when doors close, when relationships shift suddenly, and we are tempted to view them only as cruel misfortunes. Yet hidden within them is often the voice of God, pulling us away from what would quietly ruin us. Love sometimes says no, love sometimes removes, and love sometimes shakes the very ground beneath our feet. These are not accidents of fate, but carefully timed alarms, each one ringing with the message, wake up, look higher, turn back before it is too late. Urgency is the form love must take when gentler measures have failed. When whispers are ignored, thunder must be heard. It is a mercy that God does not leave us to drift endlessly in our own illusions, that He allows storms and shocks to reach us, for without them we would mistake destruction for peace. His warnings are not the wrath of a tyrant, but the rescue call of a father who loves too fiercely to remain silent. Every loss and silence is a divine signal, not an accident. Every loss and silence is a divine signal, not an accident. Life often feels like a series of random turns, unexpected absences, and moments of emptiness that we cannot explain. Yet behind what seems like chance, there is often a pattern woven by a hand greater than our own. When people walk away from us, when opportunities slip from our grasp, when the noise of constant activity suddenly gives way to silence, we are tempted to see only rejection or failure. But such moments may carry the very voice of God, speaking in a language too deep for words, reminding us that His guidance often arrives disguised as absence. Loss is not always punishment, nor is silence always neglect. Sometimes the things we cling to most tightly are the very things that would bind us, and so they are removed for our sake. The departure of certain people from our path may feel like abandonment, but it is often deliverance, for not all who walk with us are meant to remain until the end. When the noise fades and silence settles, it is not the void of meaning but the clearing of space so that something truer, purer, and more eternal can be heard. We seldom recognize divine signals while we stand in the midst of them. A door closing feels like loss until we see the new door it has forced us to notice. Silence feels like loneliness until we realize it has stripped away distractions, leaving us face to face with the one who never leaves. The pain of separation or emptiness can be unbearable, but it often reveals where we have built our security too deeply in what is temporary. Through these moments, God shifts our weight from sand to stone, from the fragile to the unshakable. If every word from heaven arrived as thunder, we might obey only out of fear. Instead, God often chooses subtlety, the quiet rearranging of circumstances, the strange emptiness after a conversation ends, the unexpected closing of a door we were certain should open. These are not accidents scattered by fate. They are precise signals deliberately placed to turn our gaze upward. Loss strips away illusions, silence clears away noise, and together they point us toward a reality more solid than anything we could have built for ourselves. The door of mercy is open now, but not forever. The door of mercy is open now, but not forever. Time itself is a gift, measured out in moments that slip quietly through our hands like grains of sand, never to be gathered again once they fall. Each day that dawns upon us is an undeserved extension of grace, a fresh chance to turn, to listen, to respond. The open door stands as a symbol of God's patience, wide enough for any soul who is willing to walk through, no matter how broken, stained, or weary. It is not held open because we have earned it, but because love is long, suffering and waits for us even when we linger in delay. Yet every open door implies the possibility of its closing. Mercy is vast, but it is not endless in time. To imagine otherwise is to mistake kindness for weakness, patience for passivity. Just as a teacher allows students only so much time to complete an examination, so God allows humanity a span in which to choose. The test of life is not indefinite, and its questions cannot be left unanswered forever. To presume that the door will always stand open is to live in dangerous illusion, one that lulls us into endless postponement until we discover too late that the opportunity has passed. The warnings given to us, whether through conscience, through circumstance, or through the words of truth, are reminders of how fragile our moment really is. The breath we draw so casually could be our last, and yet we move as if eternity waits politely for our convenience. The door of mercy swings on the hinges of time, and every tick of the clock brings it closer to a final closing. This is not meant to terrify, but to awaken, to remind us that the choices we delay today may shape a destiny that cannot be undone tomorrow. It is mercy itself that makes the present moment sacred. The open door is proof that we are not yet abandoned, that the invitation to enter still stands, that grace is still available. But it is also a summons to urgency, a call to recognize that while the door is open now, it is not open endlessly. We live between two realities, the patience of God that holds it ajar and the certainty that it will not remain so forever.